So good noon, everyone. My name is Lang Yu, and my colleague Lang is not here, so I will do the presentation. So our topic is about open AQAvit test strategies. So before I start, I know it's almost lunch time, so this will be the last talk before lunch time. So this is my agenda for today. So first I will introduce the overview of Adoptium, as Emily just mentioned in the first talk of today. And then I will talk more about the AQAvit to give introductions, architectures, and also some key features about AQAvit, and talk about our future plans. So first about Eclipse Adoptium. So how many of you know about Adoptium? Wow, a lot of people. So for Adoptium, it is an open source project. So we advance, promotes, and supports projects structured around the Adoptium top level projects for the creation and the dissemination of runtime and associated technologies, also including producing the higher quality runtimes for use across the Java ecosystem. So you can see that there are a lot of companies included in this project. We got IBM, Red Hat, Google, Microsoft, Huawei, and many other companies. So this is the hierarchy of Adoptium project. You can see that we have incubator and AQAvit. I will talk more about the AQAvit mission control, timer compliance, and also the timer. So for the AQAvit, we have a lot of open source GitHub repos. We have TKG, we have AQAtests, Run Aqua, and Aqua test tools. So I will introduce more about those Git repos. So first, what is AQAvit? So actually, it's for the Adoptium quality assurance vitalities. So for our strategies, it includes engage, establish, outreach, and extend. So for engage, we work to engage all the major Java vendors in comprehensive open testing standards. And also we want to establish the de facto approach to quality assurance with centralized testing. Also, for outreach, we outreach to customers from all different levels, and we want to extend the credibility of Java in the cloud. So as an open source project, for our Aqua manifesto first is we want to be open and transparent, so people are aware of the standards about of AQAvit, and also we want to have diverse and robust sets of test suites. Also, we do evolution alongside of implementations. For example, we are also integrating container-based testings into our Java testing with AQAvit. Also, we wanted to make it portable with tag and publish. So more about the relationship between AQAvit and Adoptium. So for Adoptium Marketplace, if we look at this photo, you can see that for Adoptium Marketplace, you can download the JDKs and JREs from different companies. So for Adoptium Marketplace, actually it's a centralized repository for open JDK binaries. And also to publish your JDKs on the Adoptium Marketplace, we got 3 requirements. So first is that you need to be a member and the Eclipse Adoptium working group. And then you need to pass the TCK. Also, you need to pass our AQAvit testing. So for Adoptium API, it is directly serving about 500,000 downloads per weekdays. And also GitHub notes that Adoptium, it accounted for the largest download workload per project in April. And also the project website is hitting 1 million hits per month. So I'll talk about the architectures of our AQAvit. So we got a set of tests that is selected from key open source stacks. And also we keep to ensure that it's enterprise level quality. Also it's a community driving process. That is why we have the Vit, the Fidelity. Also, it is designed for developers and DevOps, so it is easy to reproduce the testing environment. And also, we have graduate levels of testing. We also have release dashboard with level results, and also it's designed for broad usage of adoptions. So a quick look at the architectures. You can see for here we have the impulse, for example, the IBM Summary, Open Edition and Certified Edition, Eclipse OpenJ9, and Adoptium Terminal, and also we have Dragonwire, Bishan, and Corridor. We have different JDK distributions, and then we also support different platforms like X Linux, P Linux, macOS, and Windows. Also, we have a lot of JDK versions, 8, 11, 17, and also the 21 is coming out. So also for tests, we have different levels. We have OpenJDK, functional, perf, system, and external tests. So the total tests we have is 250,000 tests. So for those tests, if we multiply those together, so for our nightly builds, we have around 20 gigabytes of test output every night.
How does AQAvit overlap with TCK?
So, as I just mentioned, to publish on the Adoptium marketplace, you need to be qualified for 3 requirements. First is a member of Adoptium working group. You need to pass the TCK, and additionally, you need to pass our AQAvit.
Do they overlap in functionality? Is it the same kinds of tests, or are they?
It's like just for the requirement of Adoptium marketplace. Mm-hmm. So if we look more into the details of the layers of our AQAvit, we got 3 layers. So the base layer is test kit gen, TKG. It can be used both together with other layers or just use it locally. And second layer, it will be our CI system. It will have Jenkins, GitHub Actions, and also our DevOps. The third layer, we have test result summary service, the TRSS. So this one, it will be based on the previous 2 layers. So we will look at those layers in details. So for first layer, for the TKJ, so we're doing the TKJ. So if we, for our test, we have different categories. We have functional tests, we have OpenJDK tests, system tests, external tests, and perf tests. So you can see those tests, we are using different open source test frameworks. For example, for functional tests, we use TestNG, we use command line testers. And for OpenJDK, we use JTREG and TestNG. So all these frameworks, they are different. So if a user want to use it, they will need to get familiar with all those frameworks. So that is why we use the first layer of test kit gen, the TKJ. So with TKJ, it's more of a wrapper. We wrapper the test frameworks inside of TKJ. So if we want to run functional test, we just run make underscore functional. It will run the functional test. For OpenJDK, it would be the same format. In this way, it will be easier for users to run the test inside of AQAvit. And also, we want to get the great tests. So you can see that there are a lot of tests on each of the categories. So I'll talk more about the grouping and granularities. So as I mentioned, for the group, we have sanity system, OpenJDK, perf, external, and then for different levels, we have sanity, extended, and special. And also, if people want to run a specific target, for example, the JDK mass, then you can also use the make underscore JDK mass to run the JDK mass. And besides that one, for the JDK, if you want to run just a specific files inside of the JDK mass, so you can just run this test. So I will talk about second layer with our CI system with Jenkins. So first we build the JDK or JRE, and then we run those different categories of tests in parallel. So when all the tests passed, we will deploy it or publish. So for functional, as I mentioned, we have different levels of sanity functional, extended functional, and then for each of the tests, because we have a lot of tests on a side of each categories, so for each categories, we also run it in parallel. So you can see that we have test list 0, test list 1, test list n, and also we will have this one is based on the TKJ, and I will introduce about the TRSS later. So this is a brief look of our Jenkins system. So for each of the Jenkins pipelines, if you look at the name, you can see that it's OpenJDK 11, and also we have OpenJDK 17, OpenJDK 21. And also it has the import, so this one is OpenJ9. And then it has the extended functional, and also we have different platforms. For example, this one it's AIX. So besides Jenkins, we also work with GitHub Actions. So, I mentioned we have a lot of GitHub repos. So if you have pull requests in the repos, the committers they can just type a comment under the pull requests, and then. So GitHub Actions, it will just run the specific tests mentioned in the comment. So you can see this is the output, and it shows the build is successful. Also, it's similar for other DevOps. It's also integrated into our layer 2. So now I talk about the third layer. The test result summary service, TISS. So we use this one to monitor multiple Jenkins servers, and it has a personalized dashboard. Also, it provides more functions about sorting, filtering, comparing, and searching features. Also, we provide a history for triaging and performance trends. So for TISS, we got multiple versions. For example, for Adoptium, this is the website for the Adoptium TISS, and also we have some internal TISS for different systems. So this is the Git repo file. It's Aqua test tools. So this is a general view of TISS. So, and I mentioned in Jenkins, we run it with different pipelines. So with this one, if you look at one of the platforms, for example, IX Linux, then it will show you different of the pipeline. For example, the sanity functional, it's green, it means it passed. If it's yellow, it means you got some test failures in this pipeline. And for the red ones, usually it's machine failures. Either the machine failed or the machine cannot download the materials needed for the test. So in this way, it will be more easier to for the triaging and the monitoring. So also in TISS, we have more information about the Jenkins pipelines. So we will have the numbers of total tests on the one pipeline, how many passed, how many failed. And also we have perf testing. Besides, we also have in TRSS, we also have the histories of the test. For example, for this test, when it failed, you can see that which machine it is running. So probably it's something related to the machines. And also we have the histories of what this test have. So you can check it to see when it started to fail. So for here, I will talk about some key features about our AQAvit. So first is dynamic compilations. So you can see that for each pipelines, because we have a lot of tests for each of the pipelines. So when we want to run a specific test, it builds and compares a lot of dependencies, which is not needed for a specific test. So previously and first, it takes about 13 minutes. Then we did some enhancement to for each of the tests. We just specific the dependence for each of the tests. In this way, if you want to run a specific test, then it would be much faster to compare. So it reduced from 13 minutes to 26 seconds. So another feature is called smart parallelizations. So and I mentioned because for each categories we have a lot of tests, so we want to run it in parallel, run it on different machines. But how do we do the parallelizations? So for the test, for example, you have 20 tests. You can just divide it into onto 4 machines, and each machine runs about the 5 tests. But the time for different tests is different. So that is why we get the history from TRSS about usually how much time one test is needed. And then based on the history of this test time, we do the distributions to divide it into different groups. So we can finish the test on each machine equally, so it will save more time. So this feature is called the Deep Aquatic project. So what we do is we wanted to integrate machine learning and deep learning technologies to do more about the triaging for us. So for test result summary service, when we have a test field, if you click the test, we will have some possible issues that is already opened on GitHub repos. And then the machine learning model, it will analyze the output of the failures to see which of the issues is most likely to be the related issues, and then give related degrees. So for example, it will give higher or it will give medium. So currently this project, we are still working on improving it from collaboration with university professors on our CAS project. So another feature is for container-based portable testing. And we mentioned we also integrate container-based testing into our AQAvit test. So currently, this one is most used for the instant-on features of IBM summary runtimes, Eclipse OpenGNN, and Open Liberty. So how many of you have heard about instant-on features? So if you are here for the first talk Emily mentioned, so she just mentioned the instant-on features. So for instant-on features, when we have running Java applications, we can freeze it and then save the state. And then we want to run the test, we can just bring it up in milliseconds. So this is the instant-on features. So I will go into more details about instant-on features. So for instanton features on our AQAvit set, we want to specify the operating system. For example, the checkpoint we created on X Linux, and the OS is Ubuntu 22, and the microarchitectures it's using Skylake. So on these host machines, we can run the instanton to create a checkpoint about the Docker image. So actually, we're also using Podman. So we can save the status of the running Java applications and save it in the container image. And then we bring this container image to different OS with different microarchitectures to see if we can just restore the status of the applications so it can keep running on other machines. Or if you think about the combinations, we will have, for host machines, we have different OS, and for the container, we also have different OS. For example, on the host machine with the Ubuntu 22, we can also run the container OS of UBI, which is the container OS version for Red Hat Enterprise Linux. And also, for the host restore, we can have different OS, and also we can have different microarchitectures. For example, we can have Intel Skylake, Broadware, and also we can have AMD ones. And then it will be different platforms. So currently, this is the combinations we covered for this container-based portable testing. So if you think about the running of those combinations, it's a lot of work. So that is why we integrated it into our test pipelines. So we have a pipeline called the dev external pipelines. So for the dev external pipelines, first it will run a sub pipeline, which will create the checkpoint on different, on almost all the microarchitectures and all the OS. And then we upload those checkpoint Docker images into the private Docker registry. And one for the restores, each of the restore machines, it will just pull all the related checkpoint Docker images and then test the restore functions of those different images. So we also have some future plans to test smarter. So first is the change-based testing. So what is the change-based testing? So as I mentioned, when we integrate with GitHub Actions, the committer, when we have a pull request, the committer, they can run, for example, sanity functional to test these tests. But still, we have a lot of tests inside of sanity functional. So for change-based testing, what we plan to do is for each of the tests, we will relate it to the specific files. So if we change these files, we are going to know which specific tests it will affect. So we just want to run the specific targeted tests instead of running a lot of the tests. Also, we have bug prediction service based on the changes. And also, we are continuously reducing the tech debt and also do the streamlining process. For the enhancements, as mentioned in the Adoptium marketplace, so to publish on the Adoptium marketplace, one of the requirements is to pass the AQAvit test. So AQAvit test, you can also run it on your own CI system, but you need to collect the type files of AQAvit to prove that you did pass the AQAvit testings. So in our case, because we run it in parallel in different machines, so currently we have a function to collect all the type files but we do still want to make it all more automate. So when you have a release, it will be easily for the users to collect the type files for the AQAvit certifications and submit to Adoptium. And also, as mentioned, we have deep learning projects for test result analysis. So besides the deep aquatic project we mentioned about the issue triaging, we also have Triage X project inside of the advanced studies of IBM to collaborate with university professors and graduate students. And besides the triaging, we also want to know if we have a test failures. So which which team will be responsible for these test failures? So if we got test failures, should we assign this one to the VM team, to the GC team, or to the test team? And then, more specifically, if we can find the person, so assigned to the developer directly. So this is the goal of our project. So also on the open source project, we participate with different community and research activities. So besides the IBM CAS project, we also have IBM Jumpstart project, and we also have a CAN OSP project. Also, we work together with the Grace Hopper Open Source Days and also the Outreach projects. Another stuff we are doing is for the third-party application projects. So as mentioned, for the container-based testing, we actually run some third-party applications inside of containers when we test with our published doc images. So we have we're running with OpenShift. We run with Quarkers, and mentioned we also have run with the Open Liberty. And also we collaborate with enterprise customers, so it will make them easier to collect more information about the AQAvit certifications and do more customized changes for different different of the requirements. Okay, so this is the talk for today. So any questions?
Let's try again, yeah. Okay, so one question about the test suite. Did you also try to run it on other JDKs? For instance, the Open JDK or the Microsoft JDK?
Yes, so actually on the slides, when you see the Adoptium Marketplace, it has the JDKs from different vendors. So it includes for Adoptium, they have Tamarind, and for IBM, it has Samaro, and also for Amazon, we have Corridor, also Hotspot, and also we have the Red Hat version of JDK, so actually it's from a lot of the vendors.
Okay, so this is like a kind of an addition to the Java TCK.
So it's like different requirements, like for Adoptium, because we are doing it open source. So besides the TKJs, we also need them to pass the AQAvit. So when you pass the two and become a member of the Adoptium working group, then you will be able to publish your JDKs on the Adoptium Marketplace.
All right, thank you. One more question. The AI analysis of the errors, of the failures, does that actually work already?
For AI it works, but apparently it's not 100%.
Yeah, of course not.
For AI,
but did you actually get like useful results? Did it help you personally?
Yes, so for when we triage, we use the 3 layers we mentioned. So for the third layer, usually one-way triage, we use the third layer, the TRSS, to triage. In TRSS, when you click into a pipeline, it shows you all the results of the test names. So if you go say this test is failed, you click into it, and then it shows you the history of this test. And also, if you click the possible issues, then it will show you currently the possible related issues from our GitHub issues, because it's open source project. So you can see it on the GitHub repos, and then it will give you a recommendation of the related degrees. It's high, it's medium, or it's low. But because the GitHub issues, it is if you open a new issues, so you're going to retrain the models. So that is why we are working with the university professors to see if we can have better solutions to make the machine learning model update much faster.
Okay, and could you also adapt it for other TCKs, like for instance the Jakarta TCK, which is at Eclipse as well? Could it be useful for that in the future?
So I think that currently it's not the necessary requirement, but if you can do it, I think it would also work.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there more questions?
Thank you for the talk. So a big outcome of test suites is, failures. And then you usually would open an issue, I guess, with the different JDK vendors, or even with OpenJDK. Do you have any numbers for us, how often that happens? How many tickets have been opened due to failing tests, specifically OpenJDK?
So for our test suites, it's many of the vendors, for example, for IBM, we run it first internally. And if we have issues, if it's related to the test frameworks, you enter the GitHub repos of, like I mentioned, Aqua test repos. If it's related to the test framework, so you want to change something in the test framework, you work here. So, but if you got actually a specific JVM failures, for example, for the Eclipse OpenJ9, if a test, it passed for the hotspot, but it failed with OpenJ9. Then we open the issues in the report of OpenJ9, and then OpenJ9 developers, they will need to fix the bug themselves. So it's the same for other vendors. If you found a failures just with your JVM, you need to fix it yourself. For us, it's more of we create the standard of AQAvit for the open testing framework.
Okay, but some of those tests, I mean, presumably you would find occasionally a bug in OpenJDK itself, or does AQAvit just find bugs in different vendor runtimes? Because you built OpenJDK, right? I saw this correctly, or you tested?
So many of the JDK distribution, it's based on OpenJDK.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not a question, but two remarks. The microprofile TCKs are part of the optional tests right now for some of the microprofile specifications. So there are some kind of integration tests with these technologies upstream. And of course, the idea is also to have that downstream. So if there's a general failure and the integration tests of AQAvit are pointing them out, then they will be ported back to the OpenJDK to fix them at the source. And yeah, there are. I think there are some occurrences. I'm not into the very details, but sometimes you find special issues that are they have the reason into the OpenJDK source code, maybe for a specific platform. And yeah, then the Adoptium team tries to report them back, because most of the companies are also involved in the OpenJDK, and then try to fix it where it occurs, of course. And that, yeah, creates a link between the higher level usage of the JVM and the lower level, yeah, JVM developer issues. Yeah, then you need to ask somebody like Shelley, for example. She is here today. She's in the board meeting right now, but she can answer that question for sure, I would say, if you can't do it.
So one example for this one is, like I just mentioned, for the container-based testing. So that is something extra for our AQAvit. So when we develop the instanton features, we will meet some more failures at first. And then when we publish, we also want to make sure that our JDK, they publish the container-based testings. So those are some extra ones. So also, if you, like for your JDK, if you have some special requirements, you can also contribute, because it's open source repos. So you can also contribute to the repos to end this test, as long as you don't break the test of other vendors.
Any more questions? Yes?
Hello, just a short question. How many developers, or how large is your core team? I expect it's
so
much more complicated.
core team. So myself and Lan, we are working at IBM runtimes, and also and mentioned Shelley and Sophia there and Red Hat, and also we got some other committers. I think it would be around totally around 7 or 8 committers.
You do a great job.
Thank you.
I have also a question. Did I understand it correctly that these tests run all the time in the continuous integration framework?
Or in the ideal situation, we want to all the test every nightly. But because of the machine limitations, you can say we have a lot of inputs, we have a lot of platforms. So every nightly, we run some basic like sanity functional, extended functional. So those tests, we run it nightly. So the nightly output is around 20 gigabyte. So, but for some tests, like the external ones, we run it weekly. So on the weekends, when people are not using all the machines, then those machines, they can be used to run other tests weekly. And also, those tests, they are scheduled to run automatically. So we don't need to trigger it with the click.
So that means, as I understand, in contrast to the TCK, these are tests that run continuously on a regular basis, and that, for me, that gives a way higher trust in a system that continually tries to test it, not just something that, does it work right now? Let's have a look at it. And that leads to my next question. Now, if I don't have access to the TCK, not yet, who knows, then how large is the test coverage right now? Can I kind of say, okay, we're 99% covered of what the TCK also covers, or do you know if there are like blind spots?
So for the AQAvit, you can always run it. It's open source. It's available on the GitHubs. So if you want to integrate the AQAvit test suite into your own system, it works fine. So if you just want to use our test to test it, but for the TCK, or if you don't have the materials, probably you cannot run it. But for the AQAvit set, it's totally open. You can run it with or without the license.
Looking at the time, there would be one last question if you like to, which is not the case. So thanks again for that great talk and bringing this new topic to our conference. And yeah, thank you again. I hope you all enjoy the lunchtime.
Thank you.